We got one many people here today.
Rated too real.
Hello, family. So happy to see you guys. Happy Thursday. Welcome to another dope Thirsty Thursday live stream here on Tynesha Talks. My name is Tynesha Renee. I will be your lovely host for the evening. Get acquainted in the chat. Say hi to everybody. Get your drinks ready. I got red wine today, and I got my wine ready because we might need it. Okay. We have a lot to talk about today. Very, very passionate on this topic. So if I get really, really engaged or if I get a little bit emotional, bear with me. So we're going to get into all the things today. But first, as usual, we are going to do our weekly icebreaker because I love to tap in with y'all. Y'all, my family. I love to see how you guys are doing. So talk to me in the comments right now. Tell me what your mental health score is on a scale of 1 to 10. Be honest with us. If you're not having a good day, tell us you're not having a good day. But whatever your mental health score is, 1 to 10, let us know. And then also one win that you've had this week, something that you're proud of, whether it was getting out of bed or you accomplished something great. Talk to us and let us know in the comments because I need the energy from you guys. So I'll kick it off per usual. I would say that my mental health score, guys, I feel like I might be around like a 9-10 today. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's Scorpio season and my birthday's coming up. This is a milestone birthday for me. This is very, very sentimental, but I am transitioning out of my 20s and I feel very, very at peace. I've just been reflecting on a lot in life, been looking at my relationships with people, the goals that I have, and I just feel very, very calm. So I have some dope things planned for my birthday. I can't wait to show you guys. It's a surprise, but I'm feeling really excited and at peace. I would say that my win this week, I have a couple wins. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but we did hit 18K on the channel. Like we are growing like crazy. Just last month, I was literally at 7K. So we're going rapidly. I'm super, super excited. I hope to reach 20K by my birthday. My birthday is on the 19th of this month. So if we can hit 20K by November 19th, that would be such a blessing. So That's a major win for me this week. Another win for me this week, I did do a panel with Fox Soul, which I was super, super excited about. So if you guys missed that, I am going to post the full link. I'll probably put it in the comments or at least on the community tab so that you can see it. But it's just such a good feeling when you feel like you're finally being recognized for your hard work. Honestly, oh my God, my voice shaking. I might get emotional. I literally started doing these YouTube videos in my closet. Okay, I had nowhere else to record, and I'm still a pretty small channel compared to other people. So to be on panels where with people who have huge platforms, I did something with Revolt earlier this year with the Crimson Cure. Shout out to her. And so I just feel super, super blessed. That's all. But enough about me. I don't want to ramble about me. So let's talk about you guys. What we got going on here. Orange Blossoms, you're a 5.5. Well, first, I guess the question is, what is your average? And if a 5.5 isn't really your average, then what's going on? We want to try to have that a little bit higher. So I hope things get better for you. I see a lot of 9s and 10s, which is good. 10, I'm laid back like Stephen A. Smith's hairline. Oh my God. You stay talk about people hairlines. Oh my goodness. I'm on a 10 mentally today. Let's put some of these on the screen. I'm a 10 mentally today due to my win this week. The win was me putting my pride to the side and giving a long overdue apology to someone very important to me. Yes, sis, we love that. That's such a beautiful feeling. I actually reconnected with my childhood best friend recently. When my grandmother passed away, we kind of, came back together when I went back home. And we were friends, like sisters, inseparable, joined at the hip for about 13 years. And then we fell off. So it was good just to be able to apologize and make amends. So I love that for you. I really, really hope that things continue to be good. What we got here, Chavis. My win is loving my wife, period. Yes. Okay, for the Black love. You always bring those vibes. We love it. And planning to take her out to dinner next weekend. Chavis, do you guys have weekly date nights? I think I read somewhere that couples have a higher success rate if they continue having date nights when they're in long-term relationships. So let the people know if we need to be incorporating weekly date nights with our men's or women's. Shea Butter said 30 is going to be great. I'm loving it already. Child, when I tell you I've been having a whole panic attack about this, I've literally had a fear of turning 30 ever since the time that when I turned 23. I would be on the phone with my mom and I'm like, oh my God, like I just have a fear of getting old. And I think what it is about getting older that scares me a little bit is that you feel like you're a burden to people. Like I don't want to have to depend on people. And I know you're probably like, girl, you're only turning 30, like calm down. But I see that as like you're going over the hill and you might have to depend on people. And I like to be very self-sufficient. But, I think that this will be a good transition period. I learned a lot about my 20s, so super excited about that. Okay, we're going to spend a couple more minutes on these and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Orange Blossoms, you were promoted at work this week. Yes, sis, that's a major win. Definitely got to celebrate that this weekend. So hopefully that'll bring your mental health score up, but that's awesome. Congratulations. Let me see. I'm at a 7. I encourage myself to start a new job despite my anxiety. Yo, I can relate to the anxiety piece. I get like anxiety every time I start these live streams. And I'm like, okay, I give myself little pep talks and stuff. And so kudos to you for pushing yourself because I know how that anxiety be hitting, girl. I get you. Let's see what else we got. So Sydney, she's asking for advice. I'm going to briefly put this in the comments. If y'all can respond to my girl Sydney and help her out, and then we're going to get into the topic of conversation. She's 26 with a 1-year-old, and she struggles to feel feminine again. I can't relate to what it feels like to have a child because I don't have any at the moment. But I know that whenever I feel like I need to feel feminine again, that's a sign that I need to have self-care. A spa day, getting your nails done, getting a massage. One thing I'm an advocate for, no matter if I'm dating someone or not, is buying lingerie for myself. That's something that I started. And just walk around the house in your lingerie, be creative because that's feminine as well. So those are all things that you can kind of tap into. So I hope that was helpful to you a little bit. Doing a live stream would terrify me. You're good at it. Fake it till you make it, baby. Fake it till you make it. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get into it today. So last week we had a lot of fun, a lot of jokes. You guys brought up the term Pukisha, and we talked about that. That's new vocabulary for me. Today's topic might be a little bit more serious, but like I said, it's something that I'm passionate about. So the reason why I am doing this video today is because I made a short, and the short out of nowhere went suddenly, I'm gonna say semi-viral, but it has over 500K views on it. And I basically was talking about how BBL culture, so Brazilian butt lift culture, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery of any kind, and also the social media beauty standards, they're brainwashing us nowadays. I think that we live in a facade. Real life is not real life. Up is down, left is right. It's just really, really crazy. And I got some interesting responses on it. Those of you who watch my channel, you probably already seen this video, but I am going to play the clip for you guys as a refresher, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. The women who have thousands of followers and they have people paying attention to them, they typically have a similar appearance. Nowadays, a lot of women have the BBL look, or they have the contoured face look, or the high-end, I'm an it girl type of look. All of it is very, very similar. But we also make a mistake of seeing social media as reality. And a lot of women say this when men comment on the fact that they don't like women who have BBLs. A common response is, well, you guys are always liking their pictures and leaving hearts and stuff like that. Yeah, they're liking their pictures and leaving heart comments and things like that because it's fun to look at. Those are women who are good to look at if you want to get sexually aroused. But are those the women that men are lining up to marry or build a family with? It is what it is. It is what it is. I just want to clarify that I stand on what I said. And I think that the men, they understood. Men understood where I was coming from, because I think men are the ones who feel this the most. A lot of men really aren't feeling the BBL culture, the pounds of makeup that women wear on a daily basis. They're not really fans of it. And there were some women who understood it as well. Nothing okay with embracing natural. You don't have to rely on superficial beauty standards, so on and so forth. But a lot of women did not get it, okay? They did not understand the assignment, and they were panini press child in my comments. They were not happy. And so, as you can imagine, I was called a pick-me. People were saying that men don't really marry women nowadays anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Men cheat on their wives who are wholesome with the BBL type women, and so you might as well just do whatever you want anyway. They said that I was bashing women or devaluing women who have cosmetic surgery. And so I realized that with that clip, the message just wasn't understood at all. Okay. Ivan, yes, sexual attention is different from relationship attention. It's not difficult to understand. To me, this is like common sense. And I don't know if it's common sense to me because I actually think from a very logical perspective, or because I actually listen to men, or I'm trying to listen to men. But yeah, I don't think that people understand. This kind of taps into the facade of social media. We don't know how to separate social media from reality, right? People see a like on Instagram as, oh my gosh, you like me. Women see a bunch of men in their DMs as, wow, I have all these options for men who want to date me. And that's not the reality. 100 men can DM you, and 50 of them, let's just be fair, 50% of those men probably just want to smash you. So if you're just looking at social media as an example of what society is like, then I think you're going to screw yourself every time. But nevertheless, I could definitely see that the message that I was sending, it wasn't quite received. We're not lining up to wife a BBL, right? So what I wanted to do was play a full clip. So it's a little bit of a longer clip from that video. It's actually one of my favorite videos, y'all. So I hope y'all check it out. It's short, but we discussed a lot of stuff in there. But I want to play that full video so that you guys can actually get an idea of what I was trying to convey. And then we're going to go into it a little bit more. So let's see. I would commend a man who wants to pursue women who are not superficial and actually want women of substance instead of going for your typical Instagram models. But in today's society, like I've been saying, we are so brainwashed by the facades of social media that we want this it girl appearance, right? We want to have the contoured face. You want to have the nails that are done. You got to have the white toes. You got to drive the expensive cars. You have to have all these things to prove that you are up to par. And if you don't have those things, then you're looked at as less than. So if you are able to look within yourself and see that all of the other things that you have inside are worth noting and are valuable to people, a lot of women fall victim to this trap that their looks are what they have to lead with. And that's how you also get into women who feel like they have to attract men based on their sexual appearance. They lead with their sexuality because their looks, their body, their face, that's all they were ever valued for or commended for in a sense. And these are the things that I hope women can realize sooner than later, because if you pride yourself fully on your appearance, that's your pride and joy, your bread and butter to who you are, what are you going to do when your looks start to fade? Do you feel like you're valuable at that point, or will you be lost because your whole entire life you base your value on who you are as a person on how you look on the outside? I don't know how to convey this enough. Right now, white toes. I love my white toes. Child, I love my white toes too. I'm sorry, this is a sidebar. This is girl chat real quick. I used to get white toes religiously, right? Then I went for the guys, we're talking about white, like gel polish on your toes. I went to New York City with my friends, right? We were standing in line to go into a lounge. Every single woman in that line had white toes. And my friend was like, hell no. When I go home, I'm taking this off my feet right now because everybody looked the same. And so now, like, I used to be a girl who I would have like purple on my hands, but I would have white toes no matter what. And now I'm like, no, I refuse. Because I don't know. It's like when everybody does something, I'm like a rebel. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. Definitely a little bit of sidebar, but serious note, get it together. Ladies, I want you guys to look at me and understand the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. When I make my videos, a lot of people are making the assumption that everything that I say, the advice that I give is centered around trying to please a man. And I want to start by saying that there is actually nothing wrong with wanting to be valuable to a man. If you want to become a wife one day, then I think that that's pretty important, right? Like you should want to do things to attract a man if that's what your goal is. But that's not what my message is, okay? And men, I respect y'all. I love y'all. Y'all show a lot of love to the channel, but I'm always going to be an advocate for women. And when I say I'm an advocate for women, I'm always going to be an advocate for the well-being of women, the emotional well-being of women, the mental well-being of women. How do women feel about themselves? Are they confident? Are they lying about who they are on the outside, but then they go home and lie in bed and cry at night? Those are the things that I really want to focus on with my content. And I personally don't agree with the idea that you should have to alter yourself to feel valuable to men. And it was ironic because the video that I made, the full video, it was actually a response to a podcast that two Black women had, right? I think it was important for me to say two Black women for a reason. So in the podcast, the two women were saying that men tend to go for women who are beneath them so that they can feel superior. But the women describe women who are beneath them as women who need help physically, right? That was their words. Their appearance needs help. And so it was so interesting to me, like, let that sink in. Women are saying that a woman whose physical appearance is not up to par is a woman who is beneath a man or seen as less valuable, right? And that was kind of like a wake up call for me that one, women are superficial as hell nowadays. And we already knew that. Like a lot of men will complain and say, you know, women only want men who can buy them materialistic things and you have to be in a certain tax bracket. Thank you, Walt. Shout out to you. Yes. Hit that like button, y'all. But it was very, very interesting to me that other women were basically devaluing women if their physical appearance wasn't up to par. So it didn't matter how the woman treated the man, if she was his piece, how she made him feel mentally, all of her soft skills, who she was as a person. They were judging women negatively based on their appearance. And that's something that I will never ever agree with. Now, the thing that's interesting, Shea Butter, you got women telling other women, you ain't got no ass though. How many times, and ladies, let's be real in the comments, right? Let's say you got a homegirl. She broke up with a dude. Dude is with a new chick. The first thing that she's going to do is go on that girl's social media profile and compare the way she looks to that woman. And if she feels like she looks better than the woman, it is a way for her to feel better about herself because she deems herself as being more valuable because she looks better. Baby, looks ain't got to do with, I'm trying not to curse. Looks ain't got shit to do with shit, okay? A man is going to, I honestly believe that a woman could be a 10, right? Drop dead gorgeous. If she's a headache and this man finds someone who's like a 7 or an 8, but she is his piece, that woman to him is seen more valuable in the long run because all you have to offer are your looks. You know what I'm saying? Like once your looks fade away, what else are you offering? That woman has cultivated her internal qualities and she's banking on that. That's her bread and butter. And so anyway, to summarize all of that, that's the issue with that I have with this whole BBL culture, superficial culture. We put way too much emphasis on our looks. And like I said in that video, what are you going to do with yourself when your looks start to fade away? You are going to be an emotional mess because everything that you prided yourself on when you were a youthful person is no longer there. And that's all that I was trying to get across in the video. And I think that message, it wasn't quite received. Okay. I want to talk about this, Max, because this is a question that a lot of women, it leads to a question that a lot of women ask in the comments. And I think this will be helpful for men to answer for the women who are watching. Why is it that when men say we don't like the BBL look, why do women still get it? Because it can't be for themselves because they post pics for social media. I'm 1,000% in agreement that if a person does a BBL, it's not for them. And I always challenge people on this whenever they say it. The reason why people are getting BBLs is because that's currently what's in style right now, right? You're conforming to something that is seen as desirable by societal standards. So you can't say that you're doing it for yourself if you're conforming. And I think that what a lot of women think is that men think this is attractive, right? So you're doing this, whether it's consciously, subconsciously. Some women do it because they understand that they might be able to land a different type of man. They might be able to get the rappers, the ball players, the people who will, I put value in air quotes because we already know what type of time that is. It might be like a smash and go type of situation. You might get money out of it, right? But they're doing that ultimately for men. If you're conforming to a societal standard, you're not doing it for yourself. It's kind of like how, let's say I was going to work, right? Had a job interview and I felt like I had to straighten my hair to be seen as desirable or to conform to the standards that these employers have. I didn't straighten my hair for myself in that case because I thought it looked good. I knew that it was sending a certain message. And so it's kind of the same way with these women who are getting this work done where everybody looks the same. You're not doing it for yourself, but I don't know, women have kind of brainwashed themselves into thinking that they are doing it for themselves, which is the crazy thing. What I think is interesting. Oh, that was the second thing. Sorry, before I move on from this, the question for men. So women often have the question of, why do you guys say that you don't like this, but then you cheat on women who are natural with women who have BBLs? Now, I understand, like we said, sexual attention and wanting someone for a relationship are two different things. But from a woman's perspective, it can be a little bit confusing if you do have a woman who's natural, she's adhering to that aspect of things, but you still cheat with someone else because it's like, do you really value me being natural if you don't stay faithful to me and you pursue those other women. Another thing that people said, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about this, they said that men actually do like women with BBLs, right? But they can't afford the women who have BBLs. And they said that once men get to a place of financial stability where they are able to afford the lifestyle that these women who have BBLs might want, then they would up and leave the natural women for women who have BBLs. So, two-part question. One, men, why do you guys cheat on women? Why do you cheat on women, assuming that men do this? Why do you cheat on natural women who are wholesome or whatever else you say you want with these women who look like this? Should you be instilling the willpower within yourself to say, I'm not going to do this because I want my woman to know that I do appreciate the fact that she has natural beauty? Why is that not happening? Because I do understand where women are coming from when they say that. And then the second question would be, do you guys feel like men are saying that they don't like women who have surgery, who have this it girl image, tons of makeup, luxury lifestyle because they can't afford those types of women? Are they likely to go for those type of women if they end up coming into finances where they can support their lifestyle? These comments. Okay. Money 1322 says, broke or no, we all want to have sex with BBL women. Okay. So let's expand on that a little bit. Are you saying that, let's say you had a bunch of money and you can have any woman that you want, right? Would you pick the BBL woman to settle down with because you can afford her? Or would you pick the natural woman to settle down with? I think that's the question. Money doesn't speak for me. It's just sex. Okay. Speaking for myself, I wouldn't do that, but I understand that some men do that. If a man does that, it means he was never really attracted to the natural look. Right. So I think that's kind of the perspective of women, right? They're saying that you guys are saying that you want a specific thing, but in actuality, you don't want that thing because when your finances change, your circumstances change, you go for the woman that you kind of shun. So is it really that men like natural women, or do they just not have the finances for her? Or are they not a fan of the competition? Because that was another thing too. They said that men aren't fans of the competition that comes along with pursuing a woman who gets a lot of sexual attention from men. Natural to settle down. Men just get tired of the same for too long. Can we talk about that, please? Okay. So if we're saying that men just get tired of the same thing for too long, are you saying that eventually men are going to venture elsewhere in long-term relationships? Are you saying that men aren't capable of being faithful? Let's talk about it. If they get tired of the same thing for too long, does it truly matter? Like, should we be entering these relationships thinking that the men are probably going to cheat anyways or look elsewhere because they get bored? Very interesting comments coming in. BBL women are aiming for high level men like athletes. Yes. Men also have wandering eyes. Yes. Testosterone causes a higher sex impulse. This is also true. But again, the question is, let's focus on the question, folks. If Daniel is saying that men get tired of the same thing for too long, are you saying that no matter who that man ends up with, he is always going to want to venture elsewhere? He's going to look elsewhere. He's going to cheat. Daniel, you're not answering this question. You're going into other topics. I really just want to answer to this question because that kind of, again, ties into what women were saying is men are going to cheat regardless. So why should I push myself to fit whatever mold you're saying that you want. I should just do whatever the heck I want to do because you're going to cheat on me regardless. Regular women are chasing BBLs they can't afford. They have to finance your BBLs. Yes. Linus, you said you can't agree with that logic. What logic are you talking about? The answer is yes. Okay. Nikki says it's an ego thing. They want to see if they can get the BBL woman, but not for keeps, just an ego booster. I think I agree with this. This is kind of like when men get older. So let's say a man has been with a woman for a long time and he's approaching his 40s or 50s. And he might just want to sleep around with a younger woman just to feel like he still got it, right? So it helps his ego, it helps him feel better about himself, just knowing that if he wanted to dip his foot in that pond, he can get those women. So I agree with that, but I'm interested to know what you guys think. These things should be discussed before marriage. Absolutely. The urge may be there, but not all of them are going to cheat. I agree. I think that there are some men who are able to be faithful for sure. Anthony, I like your response. Let's talk about that. Anthony, shout out to you, 585 in the building. He says, as a man who does pretty well financially, I prefer natural because to me, it displays a different level of confidence. So I guess the question is, what is the way that you guys interpret women who get cosmetic surgery done? Do you see them as insecure women? Do you see them as less than when in comparison to a natural woman? How do you see them from the male perspective? Most men with money got wandering eyes. Yeah, because they can have wandering eyes because they got that shmoney. Tom just became 30 years of age. Why would we not cheat in that time? Tom, I'm a little confused by your question. So broke men can't have wandering eyes. I think all men honestly will have wandering eyes. Honestly, when it comes to the whole wandering eye thing, I think it's really unrealistic for women to feel like just because a man loves them that he's not going to see, his eyes don't work anymore and he's not going to look at women. I'm a woman, and if I'm in love with someone, I can see someone and be like, oh, they fine. Like, they look good. I love the person I'm with, but you can still appreciate the aesthetic of someone. So, I mean, I think that having a wandering eye isn't a bad thing. It's just if you follow through with that, that's when it becomes the problem. I think men generally like novelty. They may prefer the more natural look, but will indulge in more extreme body types just to do it. So, but why do you do it? I guess is why we're asking. Is it a conquest? Is it an ego thing? Just to say that you were able to do it? Like what is the reasoning for that? So Daniel says, no, that's just a treat for a man that's old. He's successful and simply wants to enjoy the pleasure of life. Nothing to do with ego. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I think that it is kind of like an ego boost for a man to be able to say, hey, I might be 60 years old, but I can still smash a 20-year-old. Like that, I think that personally does something for a man's ego. Because I think in general, when a man can land a beautiful woman, someone who's attractive and highly sought after, it does something like, of all the men that this woman might be selective with, she chose to be with me. And so that says something about me. So I don't know. I think that it is heavily rooted in ego. Anthony says, when you don't have money, you go to work, go home, smoke, drink, get up, and do the same thing. You aren't many places the BBL women are. They're out where the men with money be. cigar lounges, places like that. Yes, I do agree with you, especially out in Atlanta. Got to snatch up a sugar daddy or a ball player or something real quick. So I do agree. Men are egotistical. Okay. Keenan says, what's worse, his wandering eyes or him imagining smashing another woman while having sex with you? Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. I would definitely say him imagining smashing another woman while having sex with me. That's bad. I don't think I've ever, let me think about this real quick before I get the line to y'all. Have I ever imagined having sex with someone else while I was having sex with a person? Nah, like you could look, but if you're in that moment with me, you're inside of me and you're thinking about someone else, absolutely not. I think that's way worse. No way. Women do that often, really. Okay. I mean, I personally haven't done that, but I can see if a woman, again, long-term marriage, she's older, she might be thinking of someone who might be able to have more, I don't know, engaging, thrilling, hot, steamy type of sex, maybe thinking about her gardener or her yoga trainer or something. But I don't know. I've never done that. I think my fear with that is that I would be thinking of someone else and then I would accidentally say that person's name. Oh my God. Can you imagine that? Like having sex and you say the wrong person's name? That's terrible. Like I just can't. Why do you think that their eyes are closed? Women, I don't know. Now we get a little spicy in this conversation, but I prefer not to close my eyes. So I think that's a personal preference on the woman. We need the eye contact around these parts. Men, would y'all finish or stop if she said someone else's name? I think that a man would finish. And I think that would be his ego kicking in. Like, I think that if he heard a woman say someone else's name, he would try to go extra harder. He would pull out the different moves. He's really going to make sure that woman reaches what she needs to reach to prove a point. Like, you better not ever come around here. Think about another man while I'm inside you. So I think he would keep going. But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Child, we weren't even supposed to talk about sexual stuff. Y'all here acting up on this Thursday night. Lord Jesus. Eye contact mandatory, makes it more intimate. Yes. She gets straight gummy off of me, honestly. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'm old or I don't know that slang, but I don't know what it means to be she would get straight gummy off of me. I'm not sure. I'm tipping ASAP. I've learned that once a woman gets to that point, it's already over for you. Okay. Let's recenter, people. Recenter. Okay, this is a serious topic. So I do want to go back to talking about women who feel like they need to alter themselves to get the approval of men or to be seen as valuable to men. Because one of the things that someone said in my comments, which was, it was so heartbreaking to me, but she was saying that her boyfriend cheated on her with someone who was like the BBL type image. And so she felt like in order to be valuable to a man and not get cheated on, she had to then alter her body because that's what she experienced. And that's what I'm saying. Like stuff like that is bad where women feel like they have to go to such extreme lengths to land a man. And it's ironic to me, one, because women feel like they have to do these things to get the attention of men, but men are telling you, like, nah, bro, that's not what we want. So if a woman is trying to settle down with a man, that's her end goal. She wants to be with someone long term. We actually are moving backwards. Let me I got your comments on the screen, Anthony. Yes, Max said that woman needs to understand that when someone cheats on you, it has nothing to do with you. That's the same thing that I told her. But I think this kind of circles back to the idea that you need to have self-love and you really need to value yourself, because when you don't value yourself as a woman and situations like that happen, you tend to internalize it and you start looking like, okay, what's wrong with me? What could I have done better? How do I need to change so that this doesn't happen again? But if you're a person who is more confident within yourself, I think you will say, that was that person's problem. It had nothing to do with me, their loss. But I think the issue is that there are a lot of women right now who are not confident within themselves. And that's kind of the issue that I'm speaking to. I want to raise a point, and it's something that I've observed that I think is interesting with this whole thing. I think it's funny how women are quick to change their image, right? Surgery, tons of makeup, luxury items, wigs all the time, changing the look to attract a man. No issues there, right? No issues. Why do y'all feel like women are so resistant to change the internal qualities that it would take to land a man? I just think it's twisted that we are in a society where we would alter our image, we would get on a table, butcher our bodies, risk factors. People are dying on tables. They have stories about people's organs being taken when they're getting plastic surgery. We would rather do all of that to get approval from men. But when men are telling us, hey, maybe adjust your attitude a little bit. Maybe don't be so combative. Maybe be cooperative with me. Maybe be a little bit softer and not cold all the time. Absolutely no, we cannot change those things. We will not change those things for a man. I refuse to do it. But we're more willing to mutilate our bodies for perceived value or appreciation from men. Why do you guys think that happens? Because that's twisted to me. I think if a man is telling me, hey, fix your attitude, I'm going to be quicker to fix my attitude. Okay, babe, we got that. We're going to work on it quicker than I would sit on a table and have to go through all that process of healing from a plastic surgery. But that's just me. What do you guys think about that? Sound the alarm. Preaching to him today, sis. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I don't see how women don't see that because, again, if you're a woman who's like, hey, adjust yourself if you want to land a man, then you're a pick-me. But if you're telling a woman, hey, go out and get that BBL, it's going to land that man that you want. It's going to help you get that baller. That's okay. We're okay with that. So where's that thought process coming from? Would you really though? Like I feel you say that, but a man gotta say that really delicately for it to not be taken the wrong way. Yeah, if I like a man, I think everything is about how you say it, right? So if you come to me and you're like, yeah, your attitude freaking sucks, do better, da da da, like I'm probably gonna get defensive. But if you sit down and talk to me like, hey, I really like you, but these are the things that I'm observing, I would be willing to compromise, but I also think that it takes being at a certain phase in your life where you are receptive to criticism. And I don't think that a lot of women are receptive to criticism. And I've seen that just from me being a woman speaking on certain topics, everything that I say is kind of like, oh my God, you're attacking us, or, you're devaluing us, or you're judging us. It's like, nah, like I'm really just trying to give you constructive feedback. So to answer your question, yes, I would be receptive to that. I hate that term. Such a dumb insult when everyone wants to be chosen. Right, right. Pick me is definitely an overused term. I agree with that. The internal work is more challenging. Boom. Yes, I agree. Bravo. Round of applause, Michael White. The internal work is more challenging, but I think this is also the major problem with society because we're willing to go through all the physical struggle being altering yourself, but that has nothing to do with the longevity of a relationship. People don't want to put in the work for anything nowadays. Now I'm about to get frustrated because they don't. Like, we live in a society that is so built on instant gratification that people are saying that they want to be married for 50 years and they want to find their person. They want 90s love, but they're not willing to do the work to do so. So I do agree with that. Yep. So a lot of comments saying BBL is easier than the internal work. And because a lot of men find hyena type women sexy, what is a hyena? I want someone to clarify this for me because I hear this term used a lot I think I was watching Crimson Cure and Danica Marie. They use those terms pretty frequently, but I just want to get an understanding of what you guys think a hyena woman is, because I'm not super clear on that term. A hyena woman. People love quick results versus building. Absolutely. Hyena sounds like an OD loud woman. Okay. So someone who's like ratchet, someone who just is like, I don't know, I want to say masculine, but I want to avoid using that word because it's so overused when describing women nowadays, but just very out there, strong personality, not desirable to be around. I'm guessing that's what a hyena is. Shay Butter, you had this Pukisha term. You had us rolling last week. Okay, so a Pukisha, gotcha. Hyena type women are the love and hip hop type women. Enough said. Gotcha. Okay, understood. Loud and wrong. Loud and wrong is like my favorite term nowadays. But okay, I think I'm picking up what you guys are putting out. Okay. I do want to switch gears a little bit. And like I said before, I am very passionate about this topic. And like I said in the beginning of the live, I am transitioning out of my 20s. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I realize now, as they say, hindsight is 2020, how detrimental it is to grow up as a woman and you try to navigate this whole dynamic of being in a woman when you don't have any sort of guidance, right? And I'm going to share my family background with you guys. Women, I don't want to feel like I'm projecting my experiences on you guys. So if you feel like your experience is different, tell me that. Just share your experience. So if you feel like you have not grown up with a lot of guidance about how to be a woman, talk to us in the comments and let us know how you're feeling. But in my family, I have actually a pretty woman dominated family. We don't have a lot of men in our family. And the irony of my family is like I grew up around so many different types of women, but I didn't have any sort of guidance when it comes to being a woman, right? I don't feel like I got any sort of messaging about values, self love, navigating dating, being confident in your sexuality, self respect. None of that are things that I learned from the women in my family. And I had talked to my mama about this. Like, it might hurt people's feelings, but it is what it is. Like, I just feel like I didn't get that type of information, that type of guidance from my family. And so I struggled a lot, right? I struggled a lot through my teens, through a lot of my 20s, and I had to learn a lot of hard lessons through the mistakes that I made. And this is why I think it's so important for women to have role models, to have guidance, because if you don't, you're just kind of in the wayside trying to figure things out, and it leads to a lot of mistakes. And I think that's why I really, really want to push this idea of us teaching one another, right? But for me, I realized that there was something off with the sense of guidance that I had from women. When somebody asked me, they asked me a question. I think they said something along the lines of, well, if you feel like you didn't have any guidance from your family, then who did you learn about family dynamics, relationships, and love from, right? And I really had to really sit down and think about that. Like, shoot, well, if I didn't hear this from my family, who did I learn these things from? And for me, I realized that I emulated a lot of things that I saw on TV, right? So I do want to talk about emulating media a little bit. For me in my generation, we had things like the Cosby Show, we had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So we had things like that that were positive images of Black families that we emulated. Everyone loved Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil, I wish he was my uncle. And I really, really love the Cosby Show because they were very successful Black families. They raised their children in a positive way. So those were the type of things that I look to for guidance, right? So I don't know if you guys watch The Cosby Show. Talk to me in the comments if you do. But there was an episode of The Cosby Show where Vanessa, she was sneaking out the house to put on makeup and to wear little risque outfits to school. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I distinctly remember this episode. And so she ended up getting caught by Felicia Rashad. And so I was watching this episode with my mom, and my mom was saying how she looked to that episode because my mom has a lot of girls, right? So my mom was saying how she looked to that episode of The Cosby Show as a staple for how she was going to raise her daughters, right? So I think, let's just say on that episode of The Cosby Show, the age was like, I don't know, 16, 17. At that age, you're able to start wearing makeup. That's what my mom instilled in her daughters because that's what she saw on TV. And as a child, you don't really process those things. But now that I look back at that as an adult, I realize, like, yo, my mom, as a mother to a lot of kids, she had to look at a TV show as a way to figure out how to raise her own kids. Can you let that sink in for a second? My mom has 6 kids, okay? A lot of us. You got a big family, 6 kids, okay? She needed to look at a TV show for guidance on how to be a mother to her kids because she wasn't getting that type of messaging at home. And I think that speaks volumes. And like I said, I'm a 90s baby, right? So people who are within my age bracket, my mom a little bit older. Okay, my mom a little bit older. My mom had me when she was 40 years old. So her age bracket is a little bit different, right? But I think that most people within my age range, their parents were probably born in, like, I don't know, like the 60s, the 70s, like that type of era. And then I was thinking, like, I'm kind of connecting the dots, and I'm like, okay, if your parent was born in the 60s or 70s, that means that they were raised, they were coming up into their teenage years, their adolescence, around the time that Black marriages started to dissolve, right? So if you've ever researched marriage statistics, you know that Black marriage, it was going pretty strong until about the 80s. And then things started to go left for multiple different reasons. And so parents who were born in, again, the 60s or 70s, they were coming up in that phase. And so they didn't have that type of guidance. They had to look to TV for guidance. And I think that that's a major part of the problem. Like, I think that right now we're starting to see the after effects in my generation, so the millennials, of the things that our parents experienced. So I think our parents' generation was where we saw the major shift of not having guidance, especially guidance for our women. And then now it's just kind of trickling down into this generation. So Money 1322 says going good until the feminist movement. I think that is a part of it. The feminist movement was in different waves, right? So it had different peaks and stuff. And so the feminist movement, some things happened a little bit before then, but around the 1980s, that's when we had the whole era with Nixon and the war on drugs and all this stuff started happening where men were being separated from the household. And so I think that plays a very, very big factor as well. But feminism too, I always say I don't think that feminism did anything for Black people. This is probably going to be, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent because this could be a separate video, but I don't think that feminism did anything for Black people, because if you think about what the nature of feminism is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be man and woman. Ideally, you should be seen as equal opportunities, so on and so forth. But the issue, yes, the feminist movement was for white women. I agree. You can't really have a dynamic where we're saying that we want the men and women to be equivalent if we're in a society where the men are being pulled from the households, because at that point, who are you being equal to? So a white woman could be a feminist and, like, yeah, 50-50, like, I go to work, he goes to work, equal power dynamics, so on and so forth, because their men is still in the house. But when we don't have any men in the house and we're saying, I'm going to be this woman who does this and that, you then begin to take on the entire role of a man because there's no one there to balance out that 50-50. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like feminism doesn't really work for us. Feminists are the role models now. Black women can't afford to be feminists. We all need our men. Yeah, and I'm not afraid to say it. And I think that we're in a society now where it's like a crime to say that you need a man. And this is like a sidebar, but I also hate when Father's Day rolls around and we have the mothers who are saying that I'm the father, or you even have the kids who are operating from a place of trauma and they're saying, you know, my mom was my father too. No, she wasn't. She was a single mother. Give her extra flowers on Mother's Day. But what we're not going to do is minimize the importance of men in our household. And it's so interesting because I do have a relationship with my dad. It's not the best relationship, but I think there's so much beauty in being able to experience two different relationships with your parents because they teach you things from different perspectives. My dad is like the one who puts me up on game, right? I can talk to him, be completely 100. We talk about dating, sex, we talk about whatever. And I love having that dynamic with him. But then I love talking to my mom because she's more of the softer person. And we share similarities with each other. And it's just like understanding how both parents can feed and pour into you in different ways. It breaks my heart for people to think that you're totally okay with not having one parent or that father because it's just a completely different experience. Black women never had a problem with their men. We were never in position to oppress our women. The bait and switch is still going on now. This is a good question, Thurman. Okay. This kind of segues into my next point. Where should a girl of today learn about being a woman? Where should a girl of today learn about being a woman? Kind of like how I was saying, I think that just knowing that a lot of people aren't getting married anymore or aren't in two-parent homes, they're gonna look outward. So, like I was saying earlier, for me, it was looking at TV, right? But the problem is like when you look at TV nowadays, what do people have? Because we had again the Cosby Show, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, all those shows that had Black family units. Nowadays, we have Love and Hip Hop, we have other toxic reality shows that promote nonsense, right? I don't personally see a lot of shows that are promoting Black family units, but you guys can let me know if you're seeing that Black family units in a healthy way. Let me say that, right? Again, Love and Hip Hop. And they're resorting to social media, right? That is what girls are using today to learn how to be a woman. But I think that the problem with this is that they're being younger women. They're looking to these outlets as a form of guidance, and these people don't have their best interests at heart. I wish I could. Ooh, I wonder if I should try to bring up the clip for you guys. I don't know. I'll freestyle it. I don't know if you guys, if you're not into pop culture, you might not know who Jada Waiter is. Jada Waiter is the baby mom of Lil Baby, okay, rapper from Atlanta. And they had a trend on TikTok where it was like, I want to be Jada Waiter. A lot of people idolize her because she has the BBL image. Obviously, she was with someone who is a rapper who she's not with anymore. And they were never married. And he cheated on her several times publicly. But that's neither here or there. I just want to paint the image of who she is. But a lot of younger girls idolize her because she has money, right? She has this it girl image. She has all the likes, all the followers. And so they see her as the ideal look. And so they had this trend. I want to be Jada Waiter, or I'm Jada Waiter, something like that. I don't know. It was crazy. I recently saw a clip of her today. She has a TV show now. And they were talking about knowing when you love someone or falling in love with someone, something like that. And she said something along the lines of, hey, Hoea. She said something along the lines of, I can't fall in love with someone until I have, okay, I think at this point in the live stream, how far are we? We an hour in. Okay, we can say nasty words. I can't fall in love with someone unless I get the dick first, right? And so they asked her, they were like, "What? So you get the dick first? What do you mean?" And they were like, "It take you that long, like to be able to really like someone?" And she said, "Yeah, but that's why you fuck on the first night." Can we sit and process this? This is a girl, and this is no shade to her. Like, I don't, let me clarify this because I feel like the comments will be coming. I am not shaming any woman for their sexuality. If you are going to be a woman who's liberated and you're, Anthony, that don't make sense. We can talk about that. And you're liberated and you want to be open about your sexuality, cool, that's great. But I do think that when you know you have a platform and you know that you were trending for women saying, I want to be Jada Wada, there is a little bit of responsibility or a lot of responsibility on your end to be a little bit more mindful of the messages that you're sending out. And so Anthony says, I mean, that makes sense. Sex is a big component. The notion that you have to have sex with someone to fall in love with them, to me, that sounds like trauma bonding and soul ties. If you can't form an emotional connection with someone without feeling like they have to be inside of you, I think that that's a problem. You know, I think that you don't have to do that on the first night. And I don't think we should be pushing that on the first night, because how has that worked out for her? And I think it would have been, at least from my perspective, it would have been respected a little bit more if she was honest about her experiences. Like, instead of saying, you fuck on the first night. Yeah, I fucked on the first night, but this has done nothing for me. She also was the same woman who a couple months ago was talking about how we don't have 90s love anymore and people don't want to try and romance. But then you turn around and you talk about you fuck everybody on the first night. And that's the message that you're sending out to people. I just, again, no shade to her. I have no issue with Jada. No reason for me to have an issue with her. But I think the problem that I have is that a lot of women nowadays are not putting women up on game, right? So my message would say, if you want to have sex with someone, right, whenever you choose to have sex with them, that's your personal choice. But there are consequences that come along with doing those things, right? We need to have people out there who are shooting straight from the hip, being honest with these young girls, because a lot of people are not. And I think that's the thing that bothers me is these women be in their big, I'm sorry, y'all, I know I'm not supposed to be, I'm trying not to curse, but I told you I feel passionate about this. Women be at this big ass age knowing that their actions have done nothing for them and that they do have regrets about what their actions are, but they are not being honest with younger women about those experiences. And so, to go back to the original question, that is what younger women are looking to for guidance. But I don't think that a lot of these people have the best interest of these young girls at heart. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, you can have sex with who you want to, but just be mindful that you might be less desirable to men who don't want you to be sleeping around. You might have soul ties with people and feel all up in arms and like you're empty when they leave you and stuff like that. There's just a lot that comes along with that. And I don't like the fact that people aren't being honest about it. Evan, I'm cussing. I'm grown. I waited my childhood to be okay. So the reason why I say I'm trying not to curse is because, like I said, my grandmother, she passed away in August. And I was just thinking back on her, and she was just seeing like the standard that I have with not going out the house, looking crazy or having like a bonnet on my head or looking decent or presentable. It comes from her, because no matter where she went, woman lived up to be 90 years old, but she would not leave the house if her hair wasn't done. And so she just held herself in a certain kind of way. And I've never in my whole entire lifetime, never heard my grandma say a curse word, but her words, they held weight. She still was able to get her points across. And so I'm trying to get to that point, but you know, we got a little hood in us a little bit, but I'm trying to work on not cursing as much. Anthony says, could you be in a relationship with a man you didn't enjoy having sex with? Here go the sex talk. Let's have a sex talk. Hey, I don't know if y'all know that that's Meg Thee Stallion, my girl. Okay. Could you be in a relationship with a man you didn't enjoy having sex with? Ladies, I want you guys to tap in on this question. I think that when you say not enjoy having sex with, what do you mean by that? It's like the interview. I know this is a horrible reference, but it's what my brain went to. Y'all remember when R. Kelly did that interview and they were like, do you like young girls? And he was like, well, what's young? When you say don't enjoy having sex with, what do you mean by that? Is it just the size of things? Is it the flow of things? Are they just awkward during sex? I think I would need a little bit more context to be able to answer that question. So let me know what you mean. What do you mean? Define. No, I would say in all seriousness, I would say that he said all of the above, pick your poison. How honest do I want to get in this conversation? Let's process this for a second. So I did have an experience with dating someone. I actually really did like him. And I think we had a really good mental connection. And then we finally did get intimate. And it just wasn't hitting. I don't want to say why it wasn't hitting because he could be watching my live streams one day, but it just wasn't hitting. And I was willing to have a conversation with him about it. And he was pretty receptive to it. And so I think that going back to the question, I'm open to having a conversation with you and I want you to be receptive to that conversation. If you're not receptive to the discussion that we're having, then I think I would have a little bit of a problem. But there are other things that you can do to make up for the lacking. I basically just told you why. No, I didn't. I just said it wasn't hidden. That can mean so many different things. I didn't tell you guys. Not the size of things. A man that isn't giving you an orgasm, like just not getting it done for you. See, I'm a little bit different. And I think I maybe have a different perspective, but because I don't have sex very often, I'm a little bit more patient with people. And so if it's a person who I really could connect with, just because I think it's easier for me to Anthony, shut up. He wasn't around for long for other reasons. It didn't have nothing to do with the sex. Okay, thank you very much. Shay, but I'm serious. I'm being so serious right now. I have realized that it's harder for me to find people who I have that emotional connection with, right? And so I'm a little bit more receptive to working with them on the sexual front because it's easier for me to find someone who's good in bed. I think most people would agree with that. I found a lot of people who are good in bed, but it's hard to find the people who actually make you feel fulfilled and pour into you. So I would be patient. But y'all not about to comfort me because I haven't seen anybody answer that question in the comments. So women, could you be in a relationship with a man who you didn't enjoy having sex with? Y'all be wanting rounds, but we got work in the morning. Hey, John, I'm happy that you were able to catch a stream as well. I hope you're enjoying so far. So Orange Blossom said, sometimes if you really like someone, working on sexual compatibility can be worth it. But if you have the ick after having sex, there's no way to proceed. The ick. Please tell us what that is. I don't think I've ever heard of that either. I learn something new from you guys all the time. If you have the ick after having sex, there's no way to proceed. Like you're grossed out by them. What does that mean? Yeah, you're the only woman here all of a sudden. Right. Where are all these other women? I'm trying to keep it real with y'all. Y'all not responding to the question. We all deserve it all. The emotional connection and great sex too. Right. But what I'm saying is that I think that you can build an emotional connection. Sorry, rewind. I think that you can build a sexual connection with someone. That's something that you can honestly work toward, but I think it's harder for you to try to force an emotional connection with someone that you have high sexual compatibility with versus trying to y'all know what I'm trying to say. I think my brain went blank. Let me rephrase this. I think it's easier for you to try to build a sexual connection with someone that you're emotionally bonded with versus the reverse. So I would always aim to build the sex, but I want the emotion to be the foundation. That's what I'm trying to say. The ick is when you got that revulsion feeling you can't get rid of. Enough said. Enough said, sis. I get you. I get you. How does one work on sexual compatibility? Do y'all like play Twister or something first or a card game? It's a lot easier to get sex right rather than emotions. Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Oh, y'all really want to? We out here talking about sex, child. I mean, we can have this talk now. Scorpio season, gang. So we can talk about it. We can talk about it. Uh, okay, so how does one work on sexual compatibility? Do y'all play Twister or something first? You know what? So I actually played a game with someone, like a card game. You guys have probably seen it, but they're like the card games where you guys ask sexual questions to one another. And I think just doing stuff like that and understanding what a person likes, what they don't like, what they're comfortable with, what their limits are, those are all things that you can do to build sexual compatibility. But honestly, for me, I know a lot of people say this, but I'm honestly sapiosexual. And so I am more intrigued by a man who is trying to stimulate my mind versus saying sexual things to me. Like that's kind of like a turn off to me if men say sexual things too quick. But a man who could really go toe to toe with me and challenge the way I think and learn me some things, like the people from the South would say, that for me builds sexual compatibility. But the problem I think is that we're jumping into bed with people too quick. And then we'd be like, oh, the sex sucked. And it's like, yeah, it probably sucked because you didn't take the time to get to know the person and what they like and figure out how you guys can work together. So I think that's a major thing too. Jada Waiter or whatever being a role model would say sexual chemistry. Obvi, yeah, she would definitely say that. How do you tell someone the sex ain't it? We got to work on it. Or work on this. It's a very uncomfortable conversation. It generated a lot of anxiety for me to have to tell that person that. But at the same time, I think as a woman, one of the worst feelings is when you feel like you're laying there and you feel like somebody's masturbating with your body. Let's talk about it because a lot of women go through this, but they might not tell you. You feel like you're just laying there and the guy isn't really catering to your desires and your needs. And I never want to feel like that. So if I am giving my body to somebody, we got to make this, we got to maximize this opportunity. So I would rather feel uncomfortable telling you that something isn't working versus me laying there and feeling like I was just used as like a sex doll, but a human breathing one. Talk to him, Patricia. Well, yes, it sucks. It's a horrible feeling. Shavis said, I didn't realize how many walls and guards I had up until I talked with my wife. Now our marriage is even better because I finally let all my guards down. Brother Chavis, can you talk to us, please? What does that feel like to have all of your guards down with someone? I've only experienced this once in my life, and it obviously didn't go in the direction that I wanted it to go. And so I'm really interested to see how it feels to just be your complete 100% vulnerable self with someone and you guys actually are receptive to that. It's something that is exchanged with one another. I've never experienced it. If y'all experience it in the comments, let me know. That's beautiful. Orange Blossom, I agree. It is beautiful. It's something that I would love to experience, but it just hasn't happened for me yet. Yes, Orange Blossom, I agree with you. The masturbating with your body feeling is really why sex on the first date isn't a good idea for anybody. Yeah. Gotta be a discussion. Chavis got a role model. I think that Brother Chavis, I love when he joins these because, like I said, we love Black love and he gives a very good perspective of things. So he says, it feels like freedom. Being truly able to be open with my wife while never leaving my masculine frame is dope. Brother Chavis, mess up my makeup. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I'm still studying emotional intelligence and availability. Yeah, emotional intelligence is huge. I actually talked about this in one of my videos and people got offended. I don't think they understood what I was saying. I think that in general, in the Black community, we struggle with emotional intelligence, but I think that this is something that's a struggle for Black men specifically. Just because, like we know, men aren't being vulnerable and expressing yourself emotionally is something that's kind of shunned in our community. And so, emotional intelligence, for those of you who are not aware of the term, it's the ability to express your emotions, right? But you're expressing them in a way that's healthy to the other person while respecting their feelings. And so, you just know how to kind of flip that switch on and off where it's not only about you, but you're also able to express yourself. And I think that's something that honestly we all struggle with us kind of growing up in environments where we're operating out of survival versus a place of love and abundance. A lot of us don't know how to be emotionally intelligent. So that was a sidebar, but yeah, that's definitely a big thing. I did twice. It didn't work. And those kind of traumas is what makes a man the F boys y'all hate. I want to actually talk about this a little bit. And then we'll go back to talking about the whole women and role model thing. I don't know how I feel about comments like this, y'all. Because okay, let's assess the comment from Money 1322. I did it twice. It didn't work. And those kind of traumas is what makes a man the F boys y'all hate, right? That's fair, right? So the experience that we have with dating or relationships with anybody, they definitely shape how we are able to trust other people in the future. But at the same time, is that a you problem? And I say this with love, so please don't take it offensively, but is it a you problem that you feel like you have to become a fuckboy because you haven't been able to process that experience was a singular experience or those experiences were singular experiences and they're not representative of all women? Because this is kind of like when men complain that women have a lot of baggage because we are carrying, the weight of our past relationships and we are making men suffer for what men have done in the past. So how is this different? I think, to an extent, we're all responsible for being able to heal from our situations, right? Take the time to assess what happened, what went right, what went wrong, and then you go back out there and date again. But if you're hurt and then you're just like, okay, no, I'm gonna be a fuckboy, that's your fault for not taking the time to heal and figure out what you could have done better the first time. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion here on this lovely Thirsty Thursday evening. You guys can let me know what you think. Being emotionally available doesn't make you soft. You still maintain being masculine while not going towards being weak and not protecting your love or your wife. Okay. Chavis said, well, actually, hang on. Let me go to Orange Blossom's comment. I think this is on par with what we were saying. We all have traumas, truly, but attitude is everything. A lot of us are single because we haven't made a healthy attitude shift as a result of the trauma. So we think there's nothing good out there. Yeah. Yes. And I think that this is where doing shadow work, I think I mentioned this in the last live stream, doing shadow work, reflecting on things that have went right, things that went wrong, is important, right? Because if you don't do that, and you get out of a relationship and you're jumping into a new one, or you get out of a relationship and you're going through your whole phase and messing with rebounds, you're not taking that time to reflect. So I do agree. Being an F-boy is just a reflection of the type of woman you're attracting and the inner work you need to commit to. Yeah. Yeah. Like they say, hurt people hurt people. And so if you don't take, I'm big on accountability. And so if you don't take accountability for your part in the situation, and you then make everybody else suffer for what that one person did, it's just going to perpetuate a cycle. We're just all going to keep turning people into bad people, which sucks for everybody in the end because nobody's doing the work. So I do agree with that. Okay, we're going to move on because I feel like we went on a little bit of a tangent, but this is good conversation. So I want to talk about the idea of, or the concept of, role models. Okay. So going back to what we were discussing before. So I think one of the last questions that were on the topic of today's live was, who are women looking up to in today's age? And what I'm really, really passionate about is that we all women have a responsibility to be role models to women of the younger generation. And so I think that what gets people when we start talking about role models is that people feel like in order for you to be a role model, you have to be perfect. The Black intellectual, I know you're gonna have to go back and catch the replay, baby. But welcome to the chat. But yes, you are coming a little bit late. It's okay. But yeah, so I do want to talk a little bit about this concept of role models. So compliments of Le Google. We are going to talk about role models. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. Yes. One time for Brother J. Cole. Okay, so let's talk about what a role model is. So a role model is a person who has the passion and the ability to inspire. They have a clear set of values. They have a commitment to community, selflessness, and acceptance of others, and the ability to overcome obstacles. Okay, top 5 qualities of role models. This is something that came up on a lot of different websites when I looked this up. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is that nothing in that says that you have to be perfect. Nobody is asking you to be perfect to be a role model. And so I think that we all have a duty, and men, it's your responsibility to be role models for these men too. But today we're focusing on the women. We know that the generations before us, they didn't really teach us things like they should have. Let's just be real. And, you kind of accept that people are flawed and, we're kind of dealing with the end results of that. But generational curses and breaking generational curses is kind of like a buzzword nowadays. And people are often saying that they want to break these traumas, break these curses. But how are we breaking generational curses if we're not willing to help the generation of people who come after us? How are we breaking generational curses if we're not helping the generations of people who come after us? That is something that I will never understand. And that's where I feel like a lot of women nowadays are lacking. I actually want to read to you guys some of the comments that I received on that short that I showed y'all in the beginning where I was talking about the BBLs, because it's kind of representative of the mindset that a lot of women have today, which is really, really sick, y'all. So let me go and see, because I screenshotted a couple that were just like, wow, y'all really be out here bugging. So one person said, what are you guys saying in the comments? Okay, before I go into this, I think this is a good question. Are you referring to women who don't want children? Because I think we would break generational curses through child rearing. And I think it's important to understand that you can break generational curses without having kids. So for me, I don't have any kids yet, but I do have nieces, right? And my nieces, because of my family dynamic, they're older. Like I have nieces who are 18 up through their mid 20s, right? And so even though I am not their parent, I technically am in a different generation than they are. And so they can learn from me, and that can be a way of breaking generational curses. And so I think that we have a responsibility as being sisters, aunts, cousins, especially if you're a mother, to help with breaking these generational curses. And so I don't think that it's specific to you having children, because I can make an impact on my family even if I never do have kids. So that's a very, very good question, but that's something that I would definitely say. I got her book myself. That book still applies in women today. That book is over 20 years old, and that's sad. What book are you guys talking about? Are you talking about Shahrazad Ali? I think that's who you guys are talking about. Yeah, she's a very, very interesting woman. I don't know why I'm struggling so hard to find this comment, because I specifically screenshotted. There's one that I see, but I wanted to start with the other one. But basically, a woman said something along the lines of, and she looks like she might be closer to my age, but she basically was like, ladies, if you're not happy with your body after you have kids, or if you're not happy with how you don't have curves, then go ahead and get your body done, girl. Okay, this is a woman around my age, I'm assuming, telling younger girls, if you don't have the body that you want, go ahead and just get your body done. And I feel like we're hearing that message pushed so heavily. There's been so many women, especially women who are like the influencer types, who have said this recently in the media. And my response was, well, why is the message not go to the gym? Like, if you're not happy with your body, work out. We know that health issues, high blood pressure, heart disease, all these things are issues. Being obese, these are issues that are in the Black community. But instead of you being an older person telling a woman, work out, you can achieve some great results if you do that, we instantly tell them to go get surgery. Another person put something in my comments that said, oh, but the women who get surgery, those are the ones who get the bag. So we have come to a point in society where self-love, preaching about self-confidence, loving yourself, being confident within yourself is basically a trade-off for chasing a bag. And this is what I mean. Like, these are the messages that people are getting from women, and it's bad. Somebody commented on my video. I thought this was interesting. It's probably one of my favorite comments. And they said, no offense, but you're on the other side of the coin. You're also an archetype. So what's the issue with women altering their bodies or conforming to social media beauty standards? You're light skinned, you have locks, you're spiritual, and you're just another variation of the exact same thing. Can we process that for a second? Okay. The message that we're putting out to women nowadays is that you altering your body to be sexually appealing to men, which probably isn't going to be good for your emotional well-being in the long run, is the same as a woman being light-skinned, having locks in her hair, and being spiritual. But these are the things that I'm saying. Like, the messages that we're pushing out to women, they're absolutely insane. There are no role models out there who are spreading a positive message. Fierce Soul 85. Thank you. Much love to you. Thank you for being authentic to the game. I was having a talk with my counselor one day, and I'm going to just tell y'all this. A lot of the things that we talk about on my channel, and I feel like I've gotten pretty personal on my channel. We talked about mental health stuff. I've talked about my family background, my sexual experiences. We literally have not scratched the surface of the things that we can talk about. So I was talking to my counselor one day, and she was talking about how I need to write a book. She was like, I think that you need to write a book, or maybe this is what your purpose is through your content. to share your experiences. And I agree with that. What's the point of going through all this hardship in life and having all these negative experiences that you learn from, hopefully that you learn from, if you are not sharing these lessons with other people? You know what I'm saying? And so if the mistakes that I've made in life caused me to be single for the rest of my life, and I never find the person that I want, and I never have kids, I would still find peace in knowing that I can tell my story to younger women so that they can be better than me. But I think that the problem is that a lot of women nowadays, they're fearful of the younger generation being better than them. And you can tell me how you think about that. I think that we are so afraid of seeing that these younger women will be better than us, and that's how you come into the whole dynamic of seeing women as competition. And that's why we're not putting them up on game. What other reason do you have for not putting younger women up on game so that they don't have to struggle and experience the same things that you struggle, or that you struggle with, I should say? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say that you're an advocate for women and, women shouldn't be judged and we should be treated equally and we should be liberated, and you don't care about women if you're not helping them go through those experiences with ease that you struggle with. And I think that's the biggest issue that I have with women who push all these messages. Oh, have sex with who you want, smash everybody, do whatever you want. You're young. It doesn't matter in the long run. And then guess what? You're going to lead these women to be at this big age like you are, and they're going to be filled with regret. And I think any woman in this chat can relate to the fact that feeling regrets is one of the worst feelings in the entire world. Feeling like most of your experiences you wish you could take back. That is not something that I would wish on anybody. And so I think that we honestly just need to have more good-hearted people out here who are willing to steer people in the right direction. One writer to another, make that happen. She spoke prophecy over you. I think so. When she said that, I was like, maybe this is what I was meant to do. Maybe all these things that I didn't understand at the time and still don't understand, they happen for a reason so I can help other people. And I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. First, be the change you want to see, then teach the next generation. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Yes. And I do want to comment on something because I think someone, I can't remember who it was, so I apologize. Someone commented on my community post and they were like, there are a lot of woman role models out there. And I think they brought up Crimson Cure. So much love to Miss Kendra. Love her content. I think that, she's spreading the message that needs to be spread. When I look at her, and not just her content, but just any content in general, a lot of the people who are popular right now. So I know like Pearly Thing, she's like a person who's really big right now. Basically, creators who are in this red pill space, right? The manosphere. I think that when I observe the response that they get from women, how can I say this? The Black intellectual. Yeah, shout out to Crimson Care. I think that younger women aren't as receptive as to their messages as they could be because they can't quite relate per se. And so I say that to say that I think that it's important for women who are in their 20s, early 30s, that we be the example for these younger women because we're a little bit closer to their age bracket and we might get them a little bit more and we can talk in a way that they might be a little bit more receptive to. And so we all can be in our own different lanes and help people in different ways. But I think that that's really, really important, just understanding that you're a little bit older, but you're young enough where you can still connect with women. You know what I'm saying? We'll answer this question in a little bit. But I also think that it's important for attractive women to put women on game as well. And I'll tell you guys what I mean by that. You can tell me if you agree or not. I think that if I was a unattractive person, right? If I wasn't aesthetically pleasing by societal standards, when women hear me telling these messages, they would honestly say that I'm a hater. You're a hater because you're not cute. You hating because men aren't checking for you. But I think that it has a lot more of an impact if you're an attractive woman, right? Based on social media standards, you have what people are looking for, but you're still able to put women up on game because it's like, ma'am, I have no reason to hate off of you. Been there, done that, got the attention, but I'm trying to tell you that in the long run, this doesn't benefit you. So again, I think that it helps to take a different angle where younger women, attractive women, women who might have this image that a lot of people are aspiring to have, to speak up and just be honest about their experiences. So the question from Trev says, why are women nowadays not putting the younger generation on game? Why do they see the younger generation as competition instead of daughters to guide? That's a very good question. I would like to open the floor to you lovely people in the chat right now. Why do you feel like women are seeing younger generation as competition instead of daughters to guide? We might have touched on this a little bit before, but we can expand on it a little bit more. I would say, I think that, how do I want to answer this? For women who are, yeah, I think that's what my brain was saying. They don't want to let go. I think that when women realize that they have essentially wasted their youth, right? They use their youth in the wrong ways. Maybe was out in the streets, living their best life instead of maximizing their options for happiness and finding a partner. It leads to this difficulty with being able to let go of the fact that you're not young anymore, right? It's like when you're not confident within yourself and who you are as a person internally. And this is why I said I think it's a problem that we focus on physical quality so much. When your looks start to fade, you don't really have that compass, that center where you still know who you are despite the fact that your looks might be changing. And so, like people are saying in the comments, we begin to see women like that as competition because our maturity level was still at age 21, even though we might be at 35, because we have a hard time letting go of that lifestyle that we place so much value on in the past. Do agree that a lot of people are still delusional. But I think that's the biggest thing. I think that if you are content with the moves that you made when you were younger, it's easier for you to let go of your youth and understand that a new generation is coming in. But when you're not content with the moves that you made when you were younger, then you will see those younger women as competition. So that's my viewpoint. Sergio says older ladies are competing for the same men and they don't want to feel like giving up their number one superpower, their beauty. Yeah. Yeah. That's really, really what it is. And I had this moment of reflection with myself. And I think when I told you guys in the beginning that I'm starting to reflect a lot more and I feel at peace, it's because I've just been processing a lot of the things that I place value on for most of my life. And I'm just going to be completely honest. I have placed a lot of value on my looks in the past. And it could be something so simple as, I guess this would be categorized as pretty privilege, right? I realize like I'm used to going to the grocery store, for example, or just out in public and people say, oh, you're so pretty. Like you're beautiful. Like just getting all this attention. And then I realized that some people don't feel that, right? They never do experience that. And so for someone who put so much pride on their beauty for most of their life, it is hard to let go of that because that was the number one thing that attracted people to you. And it's so funny how this conversation is coming full circle, because that is what I meant in that clip, where it's so dangerous to put so much emphasis on the way that you look externally, because it's not permanent. What does that mean at the end of the day? It means nothing. And so I do agree, women are afraid to give up their beauty. They realize the mistakes they made as younger women. Now they have to compete with young women to avoid the lonely life with your dog or cat. Pew, pew, pew. Bang, bang. Oh, oh, oh. Shot to the heart. Yes. Fear Soul says older women love fresh meat. Yes. I think we're going to go back to what MJ said, but I think that with in general, I think both men and women do this, but I think that if you're an older person, especially an older woman, being able to get attention from a younger man, it gives you a sense of validation, right? That feeling that you still got it. And that's why a lot of women like going for younger people. But going back to this idea of they realize the mistakes they made as younger women. Very, very painful feeling for the women in the chat. I'm sure at least one of you can relate. To go through most of your life realizing that, again, you've made mistakes and you can't erase those mistakes. It's hard. And now when you get older, you realize just how true it is that men will have all the options in the world, no matter how old they are, as long as they have money, but your options will dwindle down. It's kind of like you in the club and you look around at everybody else in the club and you're like, oh shit, I'm the old person in the club. Like that type of dynamic. I think a lot of women are having that reality check. Yeah. A crabs in the barrel mentality. Yes, I do agree with that. They call it the wall. The wall. We talk about the wall so goddamn much. The wall. Somebody said made a comment on one of my videos, and I said in 2023 I need to have a new catchphrase because this damn wall. I'm so tired of talking about this wall, child. We talk about this wall all the time, but I don't think that I have heard anybody say that men hit the wall too. That's a first for me. So what do you mean by that? When do men hit the wall, and what does that look like for them? I don't know. Men hit the wall. I think that if a man can keep up with his appearance, and like I said, if his pockets are nice, if he's paid, I'm not sure that they will hit a wall. But y'all are telling me that men do hit the wall. Only if you think that way. Perspective is everything. Okay. You guys are saying that men hit the wall. So what does that look like? Men hitting the wall. And what's an example of a man who has hit the wall? His money and his health determine when. Okay. But if a man's money is increasing as he gets older, which statistics show that it usually does, would he hit the wall financially? So is it more so dependent on a man's health then in that case? Yeah. Okay. So Orange Blossom says men hit the wall when they get old and realize they have no love in their life or grandchildren. It takes a long time to get there though, like 60. I do agree with that. And I think we kind of touched on this in the last live stream where a lot of nurses report that men, they might be on their deathbed or whatever the case may be, and they have nobody checking for them, and they have that feeling of regret. So I understand. Look at brother Chavis on the same wavelength as me. Yes. Married men in nursing homes around 50. Are these melanated individuals? Because 50 inside of nursing homes, black people, I don't know about that. I'm talking about melanated folks. I'm not sure, but yes, I do agree that they are lonely in these assisted living or nursing homes. And yeah, they just don't have anybody checking for them. Fierce Soul says, I can dive deeper. Well, dive deeper, baby. Let the people know what you mean. So Lina says when they finally realize what they want, that's when they stop dating as much because the normal things we look for don't satisfy us anymore. We look for more than just beauty and youth. Okay. So are you saying that just to make sure we're on the same page, are you saying that men shift to this way of thinking once they hit the wall? Because I think we can say that about women too. Women shift their way of thinking and become more intentional. I can't count how many times I've heard women say, I become more intentional as I got older. But I think a lot of that kind of comes with getting closer to this wall that you guys speak of. Faster based on there, but it's a time limit on the eggs. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure about men hitting the wall. I think money, especially in today's society, this is my perspective, but I think that I'm trying to think before I say this. I think that if you have money, based on how things are so centered on materialism nowadays, I think you'll always be good in terms of having a body next to you, but they might not be with you for the right reasons. That's what I think. Do y'all think it's possible for men to hit the wall at an earlier age? What do you guys think? I'm gonna give y'all an example. I know we talk about him a lot on this channel. Y'all gonna think I'm picking on him. Future, the rapper Future. Do you guys feel like in my perspective, I personally think Future is going through a midlife crisis. I've been saying this for years. I think this is why he's chasing after women who are half his age and they all kind of have the same aesthetic and they don't last very long. So would you say that someone like Future, which how old is Future? I feel like Future can't be no more than 40. Let's see. Future is 38. So is he an example of a man who's hitting a wall because he has a bunch of baby moms? I don't think at this point any women are really going to take him seriously per se. Like the women who are stupid enough to procreate with him or date him, they probably just want clout or his lifestyle. So is he an example of someone who could be hitting the wall because his value isn't seen as something that's worth taking seriously? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this concept of hitting the wall. So I want to know what you guys think. Al Pacino is 82 and dating a 30-year-old. That's wild. He's definitely taking the honey pack. He's definitely taking the honey pack. Some men are just good with women. Those men don't have a wall. Okay. If a man stays in the gym, keeps his business in line, has dick discipline, there is no wall. Okay. But a lot of men don't have that discipline. So at what point do they then hit the wall? And I'm gonna give you an example. So there are some men, like, we had homecoming weekend in the South, right? And there are a lot of men who will come back and chase after really, really young girls. And they are like in their 30s, 40s, some men in their 50s, come back to talk to these little 18 to 21-year-olds. So are those an example of men who have hit the wall because they have no discipline and they're older chasing after young girls? Let me know. B Class says bingo. I'm not sure what part you were referencing. Dudes can hit the wall sooner if they age terribly, or they're just really thoughtful, mature, and value marriage early on. So if they value marriage early on, that makes them hit the wall sooner. What is the wall? Like, what is it? Is it the point where a man can't land younger women? Like, I just want a clear-cut definition of what that means. A lot of men don't want families. That's a man choosing to stop. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'm still not clear. Some men were born at the wall. What the fuck? Yo, I see I'm gonna have to write a banner for you guys. We're gonna have to write a banner because I need clarity. What is the wall for men? Question mark. What is the wall for men? What is it? Mm-mm. The wall is when you wake up and realize what you've been used to doesn't do it for you anymore. It could happen at a younger age, perhaps late in your 20s or in your 60s. It's rooted from your values. So when I hear the wall, I think of it just being a point of you waited too long to kind of get your ish in order in terms of assessing what you want in a partner. And so you kind of reach the point where your options will be limited. But if a person realizes early on that, let's say there's a bachelor and he decides at age 25 that that lifestyle doesn't do it for him anymore, is that him hitting the wall, or is that him just coming to the realization that I'm maturing, I want something different? Okay, boom. Thank you, B class. This is how my brain works. I just need something very straight and to the point. The wall, when you are no longer able to acquire and maintain the attention of your desired partner or type. That's valid. That's valid. The wall is level of attraction, but that's really late for men. I agree. So if this is what the definition is that we're going with, it is very late for men. So it's not going to be the same as for women. Right. Solid definition. We need to pin that. Yes. Okay. Webster's dictionary. Yeah. So I guess going back to the point of women not wanting to be role models, I guess we can say that that might be the reason why maybe they have hit the wall and they realize that men are not. Let's process this for a second. Let's think about this. Maybe women are getting to the point when they're older that they realize that their options are starting to dwindle in terms of the men that they want, right? But life experience has taught them that they're going about things the wrong way. And so they now have the knowledge from their learned experiences to probably be a better mate for a man. And so if they're thinking of survival or maximizing their chances of getting their desired man, it would make sense for them to not help steer women in the right direction, because a man who is intentional about wanting to marry someone or wanting a partner who has substance, he might pick an older woman versus a younger woman who's still playing games. And so they're basically increasing their chances of getting a partner for themselves that they want. So maybe that's why. Maybe we have cracked the code of why older women do not want to be role models for younger women. No need for honey pack if you practice semen retention. Child, we about to get into a sex talk again, but it's honey pack. I'm trying to figure out why it's men about my age, still in their 20s, taking a honey pack. What's really going on out here? What's happening in the world right now? I don't know. Y'all too dang young to be want to take a honey pack. Those older men are going through andropause. Is that a thing? Andropause? I've never heard of that term. If they keep acting like little boys. I don't know. Guys, I think that I might wrap up this live. We're a little bit shorter than what we usually are. But I think that at the end of the day, let me take my banner off because we got an answer. I really just want women to understand. Hold on. Trav, a honey pack is, my understanding, is like something that you could take to get yourself up to increase stamina. So kind of like Viagra, but it's like a liquid thing that men take that you could buy at gas stations, apparently. Honey pack. But yeah. So I think that moving forward for me, just looking at the way that women think nowadays, it's definitely been eye-opening that these women out here need somebody to help guide them. And I'm willing to be that person. It's kind of scary to think of being that person, but I think the biggest thing is just to understand that you can be a role model to other people and be yourself and be flawed and still teach other people through your experiences. And I'm hoping that that more women like that do get more recognition on social media platforms so that we're able to reach more people versus the BS that we're seeing nowadays. But all in all, it's a problem. So I guess the final question, because the title of the video is "Where are the women with values?" Do modern women in 2022 have values? Do modern women have values in 2022? What do y'all think? I think the conscientious women are out there and we just don't get enough promo. Women are being represented by bad role models because they get the most attention. I agree. I agree. And it's so interesting because when I started my YouTube channel, I knew from the beginning what I wanted to talk about and what my mission was. And probably ever since I was like 15 years old, I always had a goal that I want to have. So I first thought I would be a nonprofit, but I wanted to have some sort of a platform where I would be able to impact younger women and teach them things and help them through just life stuff. And I knew this again at the age of 15. And so I came into YouTube wanting to walk in that purpose, but a lot of the messages that I got from people, sorry if I'm like messing with my hair a lot. But a lot of the messages that I got from people was that I should, just do fitness stuff and don't be afraid to be sexy because sex sells. And these are the messages that people are getting about how to advance in this social media space. And so I agree that a lot of women don't get promo. And so for women who are trying to make a name for themselves, that pressure is there. But we out here. I do think that there are women with values. Yes, but the women without values are the loudest. Yeah. They're the loudest and they're the ones that people are resonating the most with because the women who don't have values will do anything to chase a bag. Let's talk about it. And that is what is being idolized in today's society. The women who can get a bag, who can live this it girl lifestyle, no matter what they had to do for that money. And so I agree. Major, major problem. Never compromise the values for monetary gain. Yeah. Linus, thank you. I really, really do like deeper talks as well. With these live streams, like I said, this is just a way for us to tap into different things. So last week it was more fun. We were kind of all over the place, y'all. Last week live stream was all over the place. But I think that this live stream, I like the pace that it went, and I like the fact that we were able to get into deeper topics. And so that's kind of what we're going to do moving forward. Just alternate, because I love to hear how you guys think. So much love to you. I do appreciate that. The women that are fully dressed, smart as fuck, and are low key are planning weddings. Probably. That might be true. Yeah. Y'all still talk about the honey pack. Self-destruction is stronger than self-respect. Yeah. At the end of the day, Orange Blossom, do we want to go there? Because I thought I was going to close it. We can go there. Shit, y'all want to go a little bit longer, we can go there. Okay, I might have to refill my drink a little bit. Self-destruction is stronger than self-respect. Listen. At the end of the day, I think that we all need to realize that there is an agenda going on out here. And although some of the things that we're talking about are impacting people from other cultural backgrounds, I don't think other people from different backgrounds are struggling the same way that melanated people are. And so all of this is just like a chain reaction of things. We see what feminism did. We see what removing men out of the families did. We see now what social media is doing because women don't have guidance. And I just really want people to wake up and see these things. Black is power. Y'all already know what time it is. Child, we go to a whole tangent about this. Black is power. It is seen as a threat. And the easiest way for us to minimize the threat is to minimize the chances of reproduction, right? Women lost. Men are lost. Men and women hating each other. They don't want to procreate with one another. Like, it's all a part of an agenda. So I just hope that people can open their eyes to that. Like, really. Orange Blossom. Like, we gotta go there. Like. Thirsty Thursday. Okay. Orange Blossom says, I just hope creators like Pearly Things don't completely poison the dating well. I don't know if you guys watch her stuff. I'm just starting to get hip to her stuff, so I recently caught a couple of her videos. She seems to be highly regarded right now in the red pill atmosphere. I'm not 100% sure how women feel about her per se. I've seen mixed things. So I feel like we always have a conversation about this, but we're focusing on Pearly Things right now, or creators like her. Do you feel like these women are helping the dating pool, or do you feel like it's hurting the dating pool? Do you guys watch Pearly Things? Because I can describe her in a synopsis for you if you need me to. She says her audience is entirely male. And I talked about this last week. I always talk about this. No shade to any woman creators out there, but I am always very iffy of women who say that they are aiming to help women and their audience is only men. If you are aiming to help women and your audience is only men, you should be trying to course correct. You should be trying to redirect to figure out how you can reach your target audience. But I don't think that's happening. B class. So Pearly. Ooh, Orange Blossom. Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. So B class. Pearly is a white woman. I feel like I said that with too much bass in my voice. Pearly is a white woman though. And so I think that's one of her criticisms is that she's a white woman. I think she grew up in like an affluent home, privilege, nuclear family, that type of thing. And so a lot of people feel like she can't really relate to the experiences of other types of women. And so that's been the only criticism that I see of her really. Orange Blossom says she promotes all these traditional marriage values, meanwhile telling men that there are no good women to marry. LOL, the cognitive dissonance. She's a pick me, in my opinion. I be so humble in these YouTube streets. I feel like I've tried so hard to just bite my tongue about how I feel about certain things because I don't want to be out here. If I happen to blow up one day, I don't want to have issues with people. But like I said, my concern will always stand that I'm very weary of women who, again, are saying that their intent is to reach out to younger women and be role models to them. But that women aren't resonating with your content because then it makes me feel like you just saying stuff to appeal to the people who are watching your stuff. So that's kind of where my concern is. I'm gonna keep a buck with you regardless. I feel like whoever rock with it, you rock with. If you a man, woman, I hope I get through to the women. I hope I get through to my women's because I love y'all. But I am just wary of people who I can't relate to, like I said earlier. So if I see you and I feel like I'm watching your stuff and I'm like, yeah, you don't really relate to my experiences. You don't know my background. You don't know what it's like to grow up in the hood, to deal with single parent homes, to deal with people who have drug addiction, to talk about being a single mom, incarceration. If I can't relate to you in that regard, then I'm not resonated with it. But teach their own. You do what you want. You watch. She also said that she exclusively dates black men. Lord, we finna go on a tangent. I would also say, nah. Do we want to go there? Now we about to have a freestyle conversation. I feel like the end of our live streams are always freestyle conversation. I don't know how I feel about people who are not black who say that they exclusively dates black people. That might be a controversial statement. But why do you exclusively date black people, especially if that's not the environment that you grew up in? This is to step aside from her because I don't want to feel like I'm bashing her. This is kind of how I feel about the Kardashians. How did y'all grow up in Calabasas? Hello, hello, hello. I think you guys can hear me. I'm not sure what happened to my mic. I think I hit something and it didn't work. But tell me if you guys can hear me now. Can you guys hear me now? Tell me if you guys can hear me now. Okay. There we go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. She probably over them white boys. That's fine. But like I said, to say that you specifically, I rest my case. I rest my case. But like I said, I don't know if I made the statement before, but I think that I was having a conversation with my sister before, and I was saying that I think that the ancestors said hold up on that word, right? We're getting a little bit too real for them today. No, I personally think that any person who says that they don't date within their own racial group, I think that that's honestly rooted in some form of trauma or dysfunction, especially if you grew up around those people. And so it could be, again, a lot of people are just like, I don't like the way that you act or blah, 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 et cetera. But it's still rooted in some sort of trauma or dysfunction that's happening within that cultural group for you to say, I will not date those people. Like if I was to say, I will not date a black man, I think you guys would look at me like I'm crazy. Like, sis, you black, what do you mean? What's going on that you got to work through where you feel like that? But that's a topic for a different day. I feel like we're going to go into a tangent, but I just feel like it's a little bit weird. That's all I'm saying. Just a little bit weird. Just a little bit weird. Okay. I think, yeah, I think it is usually trauma. I think it is usually trauma, but I think the question was, yeah, it's one thing to prefer other races. It's another thing to draw a hard line at your own. Yes. Do agree with that. Do agree with that. But yeah, so the question is, are creators like her helping the community? I don't know. I did hear that she was coming up with a wife school. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. You know, if she feels like she's able to teach women about, you know, some of the values that they need to work on to become wives, maybe that would be beneficial for people. But I don't know. I would have to see more of her work to determine. I'm not really a fad type of person. So when people are like really gung-ho about a specific creator, I just observe their movements for a while and then I determine if I resonate with them or not. So I don't know. I guess we'll just see as time goes on. So that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. All right, y'all. I think we're going to go ahead and close this live stream out because I want to try to get to bed at a decent hour tonight. But really, really good conversation today. I think that our conversation next week, it might be a little bit of a mix of fun things. The comments though, it's going to be a mix of fun things and hold on. Okay, we're gonna keep going all night. Orange Blossom, goddamn, you on a roll tonight. I'm gonna acknowledge it. Okay, this is the last one. Then we're gonna get off the live. If you are not having success in love, it's usually a you thing. She teaches men to transfer that accountability to women. I would say that. I think I said this before, and I don't want to sound redundant. I think a lot of these platforms do that. I think it's very rare to find a platform where, whether their message is directed to women or whether it's directed to men, it's rare to find a platform that is saying, okay, accountability on both parts. It's always shifting things. But you guys can tell me how you feel. But yeah, I don't know. I don't watch her enough to know if she does that, but I do think it's a problem with transferring accountability to any person, because you're right. You are a whole adult in this grown ass age, as we've been saying, right? You're a whole adult. You're accountable for your actions. You should be accountable for your decisions. And so if you are not having luck with women, then I think that means that you need to have a level of introspection. Because just like women say there's no good men out here, no, there's good men out here, but maybe something in you not finding them. I do think that there's good women out here as well. I don't believe that all women are a lost cause. And that's what I'll say about that. Okay. All right, y'all. Fro, I'm hopping off this live. It was so dope to talk to you guys tonight. As always, we will be here on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So tap in with me next Thursday and we're going to have some dope conversation. I do think that I want to get to a point where you guys actually come up on the screen with me. So if you guys feel comfortable in saying things with your chest, then I will happily incorporate you into the live so that we can have more interactive discussion. And Thursday night football. Child, I tried to be respectful of football. This is actually why I didn't do my lives on Sundays, but I know about Thursday night football. So if you can't make it, catch the replay. But if you could watch your football and watch me as well, I would really, really appreciate you guys. I love you guys so much. Like, you guys are my family. I love the community that we're building here. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to like, share, comment. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we real ones over here, okay? And we're just going to keep growing. As always, stay safe, stay blessed. And until next time, y'all, bye.